Welcome back into the Pig Trail Show. Another week, another Arkansas football recruiting report. That's Otis Kirk. I'm Jacob Morris. And Otis, a big weekend for Arkansas on the recruiting front, and some good news coming today in the form of Jaquinton Madison, a 2025 defensive lineman. He commits to the Hogs, offers from Missouri, Kansas, a couple others, and the Hogs get their 11th commitment of the class and kind of keep moving towards the goal of putting a nice 25 class together.
Yeah, he's not going to be the only one today.
Yeah.
We don't have any other news right now, but there'll be news breaking later today on another kid, or it may be tomorrow. But there will be there's going to be more good news out this weekend. Let me just leave it at that. But anyway, Jaquinton, yeah, he they didn't have a defensive lineman committed in this class. I'll see if I can start talking better. They didn't have a defensive tackle or lineman period recruit committed in this class, but they got Madison, and he fills a void. They brought a lot of them in. They had some other kids, Dylan Battle and Caleb Bell, and some other defensive tackles in here this weekend, but Madison jumped on that offer. I did a story on the Simmons kid that's coming in next weekend earlier this week. He came here on part of the 7-on-7, and he's a big defensive tackle, got Florida State, Alabama, LSU. So Deke's really recruiting them. He just hadn't been getting them, but he got one there, and there'll be some more good news coming, as I said, along those lines. But anyway, Madison, you can't get too many defensive tackles.
Yeah.
They're rare. I mean, it's hard to get them because when you have one, when there's one out there with the academics and talent to play in the SEC, everybody wants them. And so they came after him. A lot of schools did that needed a defensive tackle. And so, yeah, he's 11th one in this class for right now. And we'll see what happens next. But
yeah,
that was a good pickup, Jacob. I mean, he had other good offers. I think he had 20 in all, I believe. So yeah, he had some other offers and various levels, but you can never pick up too many of those guys. And I know Deke's been working it hard, man. He's been getting them here. They just haven't been committing. But once they did, I think it's going to be okay for. I think they'll kind of start then. Kind of the first one's always the hardest one to get.
Yeah, the hope is it snowballs after that. It's a great point in terms of defensive linemen, right? You'll take as many as you can get. We're seeing that in the portal, right? It seems like skill position guys, they're not a dime a dozen, but you can find guys at the group of 5 ranks, bunch of guys jumping in. But there's a reason defensive linemen and offensive line are the premium. It's because they're important and you want as many as you can get. But hey, let's keep talking defensive linemen. How about 2025 edge? Keandre Johnson, SMU and Texas have shown interest. Another defensive line prospect and another prospect Arkansas would like to lock out.
Yeah, he's big time defensive. He's an edge from Terrell, Texas. And I'm going to tell you, this kid's real. He's 6'4", 230. And Johnson's he's one of the best players down there. I mean, he's an 89. With on 3, which is 1 point short of being a 4-star. He's a 90 is a 4-star, and he's got an 89 grade. So I've got a feeling though, and what happened to him? A lot of places were ranking him as a tight end. Is what's weird. They were ranking him as a tight end, and he was pretty good there. But when he moved to the edge on defense, he shot up. So I think some of them are still. I think he'll be a 4-star, Jacob, before it's all said and done. Like I said, he started out as a tight end, kind of, and playing defense, but some of them felt like they were going to rate him at tight end, and he's not. He's an edge, and so yeah, I think like I said, he's 1 point short with one service, but I think there's between ESPN on 3, 24/7 Sports and Rivals. I think he'll be a 4-star with at least 2 of those before it's all said and done. I don't know which 2. I mean, I'm just saying that, but he's close, and with a great senior season, and if he stays healthy, he's going to have a very good senior season. But he's big time. He's one to be watching here in the next few days for maybe something might come down the road on him because he's close and big time. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's funny with those guys. You said it right. 1 point between a 3-star and a 4-star. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Recruiting rankings, they're important. I'm as big of a stars matter guy as there is, but it just is funny, right? Because it changes the entire perspective of all of a sudden we got a 4-star defensive lineman coming in and he's 1 point short and he's a 3-star. It's crazy.
Yeah, you put the headline 3-star defensive edge. Oh, okay, 4-star. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean 1 point and. Actually about 0.6 of a point. I think when they get it up in the percentages there, they move it to the next level. So he's close. And he's going to be fine. Johnson's just a big time player, and no matter what and I think he will. Like I told you, I think he'll end up with a 4-star with 1, 2, or 3 of them, maybe all of them. I don't know, but I think some of them will move him up. I really do. He's so close right now. And I think kind of some of them originally ranked him as a tight end. I think now they're kind of catching on with the edge stuff. So look for him to move up. That's one that Madison, I think he'll be a 3-star when it's all said and done. Not that he's not a good player, he is, but I think Johnson's one that you could see move up simply because I think he's just got a lot of potential. And I don't know if people know how good he is at pass rush. Hey, he had 57 tackles, 40 solos, 18 for loss, and 10.5 sacks. Is what Johnson had. I almost forgot to tell you that. I had that written down, going to remind people. Yeah, he had a quarterback hurry and 2 pass breakups. He's very active. That 10.5 sacks and 18 tackles for loss tells you that the kid's around the ball all the time. Mm-hmm. I really firmly, and I know I've said this 100 times, but I really firmly believe it. Johnson will be a 4-star when it's all said and done, at least with some of them, Jacob.
Yeah. 10.5 sacks, not too bad for a tight end, right?
No. Yeah, for a tight end, that's not bad.
Something to keep an eye on for sure. We'll watch what happens with Johnson, but let's stay in the trenches. 2025 offensive lineman Keaton Jones, a Kansas kid. He's got a K-State offer. He's got a Missouri offer. He's got an Alabama offer. And we've talked a lot, it seems like every time we're on here, about offensive line being a priority, obviously, for this staff. And this is another guy that the Razorbacks are looking to bring in.
Yeah, and they did get, I guess I should have mentioned that earlier, 4-star Connor Howes and 3-star Cash Courtney earlier this week. Mm-hmm. I've been so busy. I've had camps every week, and then I think we're up to 34 official visitors the last 3 weekends. So in between camps, I bet there was 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 kids at those camps. I forgot all about Connor Howes, and Cash Courtney did commit earlier this week. So but Keaton Jones, getting back to him. Usually when I talk about Coffeyville, I'm talking about the junior college up there. I'm not used to talking about Phil Kinley High School, but he's a high school player, not a junior college player. 6'4", 320 maybe. He's a man. I tell you what, and he's not an ounce of fat on that kid. And he is down. He's going to visit Kansas State, Missouri, and Arkansas. Those his 3. He's been to Missouri and Arkansas, and Kansas State is where he's going to take his last visit. Then he will. Now it will be between Arkansas, Kansas State, Missouri. Where he goes, who knows? I like Kansas State probably likes getting that visit, but and he's from there. But we'll see how that plays out. But I do know that he said that a lot of coaches offered him, and then didn't really stay on him like Coach Mateus did. And, he doesn't just offer kids. Well, this whole staff, they don't just offer kids and then, they got an offer, we're going to move on to the next one. Arkansas's made Jones a priority, and they're getting pretty full there on the offensive line, but he may jump on here in the next couple of weeks. I don't know that. He's not one I was hinting about. Believe me, he's not the one I was hinting about, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him because I just know that he's built a really good relationship with Eric Mateus. So we'll see how that plays out, but it could go any of the 3 ways. But he had a good visit, and that's all you can ask for. He's been in Arkansas, and like I said, when I say Coffeyville, just understand he's high school, Phil Kinley High School, not the Red Ravens of the junior college there.
Yeah, high school class of 2025 kid, not junior college there. But hey, this is
all these are today, and they've all the kids are 2025, and except for Howes and Cash Courtney, everybody's visited this weekend that we're talking about. Those 2 kids visited that first weekend and May 31st weekend.
Yeah. Well, we'll stick with the trenches here. We're going back and forth, offensive line, defensive line, bouncing back and forth. I think that's kind of music to Razorback fans' ears. How about 2025, Caleb Bell? He's a defensive lineman, a Georgia kid. I know NC State has high interest, but again, another priority in the trenches. You can't have too many of them, right, Otis?
Yeah, no, you can't. And I tell you, NC State, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, one of them 3 is going to get that kid. And Arkansas hopes it's Sam. Caleb was here, good looking. Just another good-looking player. Probably kind of like Madison. Probably not as tall as you might want, but he's got good at gravity. Low gravity, so he's kind of hard to deal with. I can see him causing if a taller player going against him doesn't have good pad level, I can see him causing him a lot of issues. He's not short. He's just not a 6'6", 6'7" kid that you might want, but I don't know that it doesn't matter as much on defense. He's got good arms and stuff. And so, yeah, but Caleb's down to 3 schools and he was here, and we'll see how that plays out. But he's another one that Arkansas, they're wanting a lot of defensive players. They didn't sign very many. They didn't sign any high school defensive linemen last year. They got one. Well, they got Charlie Collins. Defensive tackles, they didn't sign any. They did. In fact, Charlie Collins hosted Johnson kid this weekend, and then Kavion Henderson hosted one of the players a few weeks back. And defensive tackles is a high priority. They only got the one kid from BYU, Danny Saley, was the only one that they added last year's class, and that was from the portal. So Sam and Deke, Coach Green, Kelvin Green, the assistant there, they're wanting to get some depth there at defensive tackle. So they're really on a lot of them. And there's going to be some more in here. Like I said earlier, there's going to be more next weekend, Jacob. They're going to have a lot of kids next weekend. A lot of them are doing defensive linemen. So, and there'll be some, so yeah, they're not, you recruit enough, you're going to get some of them, man. And I think, like I said, they got Madison today. I think it's going to snowball a little bit now. I think you'll start seeing more and more because they're kind of putting a priority on that, And so we'll see what happens there. But I feel pretty good about some of these. I think they just love Deke Adams. You still got the big kid that visited last weekend, 6'4", 6'5", 340 that I told you, listed at 295 by the recruiting service. I think, or maybe it's Evan on here, and I told Evan, I said, when they lifted him at 6'4", 295, I think that was when he was born. There's no way that kid's 6'4", 295, kid from Lufkin, Texas last week. And Zion Williams, not Williamson, but Zion Williams was his name, Jacob. This kid was huge, man. Just huge. And I looked at that recruiting service 295, and I said, when was that, man? When you were born? It's a big kid. I'm glad I don't have to feed him. But anyway, that's getting off track. That was last week. But what I'm saying, you bring enough in every week. You're bringing them in every week. You'll get some of them because Deke can recruit.
Yeah. Deke Adams, the whole defensive staff. I know it's a different position group, but I told you before we hopped on here, I was up in Springdale, talking to TJ and Tevis Metcalf. They were helping fundraise some money for tornado relief. And every single time we talk to them, I know you're the same way, they talk about the importance of that defensive staff. They talk about that and the importance of recruiting and also just how much it helps everybody. And keeping those guys together, Deke Adams, no different, is helping on the recruiting trail for sure.
I think it helped too, keeping that staff together. That whole staff came back. There was 4 changes, but this year they were all on defense. Offense. They were all on offense. In the past, there's usually been a lot of defensive staff changes, and this year it was more along the line. Well, last year they brought in 3 of the guys. Deke was the only holdover, and then Coach T. Will and the 2 Coach Woodson and Coach Wilson were from the secondary. But this year they kept all 4 of those guys together. And I think that's going to help recruit because it's not just Deke Adams. T. Will's talking to these defensive linemen. We're going to talk about Blake Cherry in a minute, but I'll tell you this, the kid from Owasso, he told me, he said, man, there's nowhere like Arkansas. He said, they don't treat you anywhere else like they do at Arkansas. He said, last night, you'd have thought I was a defensive lineman. When the way the defensive staff was recruiting me, you thought I was a defensive player. He said, they were in there recruiting, and he's committed. And that defensive staff was working him. So, that's what I'm saying about this. When you recruit like that and you recruit well and you're honest with it, these kids can see through fake people now. It's not like it used to be. They can see through fake people in a hurry, man. And I hear that every week. What the family atmosphere and just how sincere Coach Pittman and those guys are. I hear that every week, and I hear it from kid after kid after kid. It's not 1 or 2. It's a constant. I could put that in my story, no matter whose name it is that the story's about. I can put that in there because it's going to be in there, and it's a constant theme, and that's impressive. But yeah, I had to share about Blake Cherry because I thought that was funny. He said, man, he thought I was a defensive stud out there, the way they were talking to me. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, all hands on deck, right? When you're recruiting, make it happen. Yeah,
and a lot of staffs I don't think do that, Jacob. It's and the camps here too. I'm getting off a little bit here, but the camps here, it's not a money grab. Every kid that comes to camp here, they learn fundamentals. They're obviously, when you talk about 2,000 or 3,000 kids coming to camp here in a week, there's not that many. Probably maybe 20, 30 got offered, maybe 15. but every kid here is going to take stuff back to their high school. Fundamentals makes them a better player, and that's what's important. And so it carries over into the camps. Just when you're sincere, you're doing things the right way, and that's why I think football team's going to be okay. But I think they're doing a lot of things the right way and doing it the best they can. And I think good things are going to happen to them. Don't go crazy, people. I'm not saying 12-0. I'm not saying the playoffs. I'm saying I do think they will qualify for a bowl. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be 6-6. I don't. I think it's going to be 7-5 or better. I think they got the best play caller in America, Bobby Petrino, and they've upgraded the staff. And not that necessarily the guys that left were bad, but I mean, I think Arkansas just got some new ideas, fresh blood here. I think it's good, and the defense improved last year with the new additions. That's why I think will happen to the offense. Plus, like I said, Bobby Petrino, second to nobody in play calling. That guy's amazing, and I've heard people, he's over the hill. Bobby Petrino could call plays from his grave. I'm telling you, he could call from the casket. Now call 99% of the people calling plays. That guy's a genius. I don't know how he does it. I've seen him get receivers open, and they couldn't get separation from anybody else. He gets them open. I don't know how he does it, but he's got a knack for it. He's great at it, and he's a very good addition for Sam and now here.
Yeah. At the risk of being accused, like you said, of pumping sunshine and rainbows, it's true. Every player we talk to talks about a difference in mentality, difference in attitude, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. And so that should be interesting to watch. Again, that doesn't win you any ball games. It sounds great in June, but it does seem like the team's in a better headspace. I like where you're at. No national championship predictions.
Right. No, I'm not. And I'm not saying undefeated seed. I'm not saying SEC champion, but I don't think you'll see them lose 7-3 to a mediocre team at Razorback Stadium either. So we'll see if that makes these. I don't think you'll be seeing them lose 7-3 to a mediocre team over at Razorback Stadium. So before I get in trouble, I'll just leave it at that. But that pretty much is, But now Bobby's going to make a difference on that play, and I like the assistants. Whether they were any better than the ones that were here, they're not any worse. And I think they brought some new ideas. That's what I'm saying. So I thought Guyton and Jimmy Smith and Cody Kennedy were fine, but I think these guys came in, and Arkansas didn't go backward in. They went forward in play calling. They went forward, definitely, Bobby. But I like these new assistants. And I tell you, Ronnie Fouch is the one I didn't know anything about. That guy's a recruit machine. He was the one I didn't know about. I mean, Kobe came from the pros, so he's probably going to have some pretty good connections. I knew Mateus from when he was here before. Obviously, I knew Bobby from when he was here before. But Ronnie Fouch was the one that when they hired him, I'm thinking, who is this guy? And I'm gonna tell you what, he's a recruiting machine. That guy is good, great person, and very good coach and recruiter. Even a Lakers fan, so he's got something going for him.
He gets brownie
I got to
points
throw
for
that in.
that.
I'm sorry, I got to throw that in, man. Ronnie likes to talk to the Lakers too.
Brownie points with Otis is always good in terms of the Lakers.
I'm gonna say he's great. He's probably a 5-star, man.
But hey, two more targets to hit here before we go. I love this. A running back duo out of Parkview, and we talked a couple of weeks ago, I think, about Little Rock Parkview targets, and two running back guys that Arkansas is interested in both and in the same class. It's kind of an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, Settles is definitely going to be a running back. The other kid might be more of an athlete, but can play running back too. The other one's down to Arkansas and Kansas State. But Settles is looking at Arkansas, Memphis, Tulsa, Yale, and Missouri. That's his 5. Arkansas, yeah. So we'll just have to see where this leads. But where this leads. But Arkansas recruiting 5 players out of Parkview. They have 1 committed. 2 were in here a week or two ago, last week, and so these kids came in this week, and you just keep recruiting them, and you eventually, you come out okay. So but the thing about Elston is Kansas State's had good luck with smaller running backs. He's probably 5'8" or so, and so they've had pretty good luck with smaller running backs. So Arkansas may be in a battle there for him, but Settles, he told me Coach Kobe Smith is his guy, and they talked to him because he was one that they'd been talking about, or they hadn't, but it'd been speculated in the media, not just me, but others, that he could play other positions. But he told me that Kobe Smith talked to him last night. He's definitely going to be a running back, Jacob. Settles is definitely going to be a running back here. And then Elson, he's down to Arkansas and Kansas State. He's going to make his decision. Like I said, though, I don't know. I've heard Arkansas is in good shape, and I've heard Kansas State's in good shape. So probably nobody knows when you hear that, but I do know Kansas State's had pretty good luck with small running backs. But then again, Arkansas's had Michael Smith and Dennis Johnson and people that small running backs too. So it's not like Kansas State. Arkansas's had small running back, and Bobby Frino had Michael Smith and Dennis Johnson and some of those guys. So yeah, he's experienced smaller backs as well here at Arkansas.
Yeah. When you hear both parties feel good, it's kind of just a wait and see sort of situation,
Exactly, man. Just be wise to wait on that. But Settles, Missouri's the SEC team there, but he's got Yale in there. When you hear, the kid's a little bit brighter than I am. His light shines a lot brighter than this idiot here. But his light's shining pretty well when he starts talking about and you can tell by talking to him, he's very, very intelligent. I mean, I could have actually talked to Settle for a lot longer than I did if I'd have had time. But I really enjoyed the conversation. It wasn't anything. I mean, he didn't say I'm coming to Arkansas or anything like that. He didn't say he wasn't. But he did a lot of good things about Arkansas, but I really enjoyed talking to him. Just very intelligent and just like the way he came across. I mean, and he answered your questions. He hauled around when I asked him. I said, I know you're an athlete, but are you going to play running back but he could play receiver, safety. He can play a lot of positions. He went into detail about meeting with Coach Smith and talking about playing running back. So that impressed me, just the fact that he went into detail. It wasn't just let's get this interview over with and move on. He was really good, and I like that. So he went into details, and I'll have a story later today on him for Pig Trail Nation, Hogville and stuff.
Yeah, that's a heck of a school list. Then you throw Yale on top, pretty much is like the
that was
cherry
the one
on top
that,
of the sundae there.
Memphis and Tulsa are local schools. Missouri SEC recruits Arkansas a lot, and then Arkansas. So but when he threw Yale in there, it kind of, okay. His IQ is a little bit higher than mine. Then.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. But hey, last thing to talk about before we go, you mentioned Blake Cherry already, but a couple commitments for the Razorbacks. And again, it's just this class continuing to bit by bit come together, and a couple key additions this week for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, Blake Cherry's committed to Arkansas. He's from Owasso, Oklahoma. We've talked about that, where those schools over there's about 5 of them you can recruit every year from that little group of 6 schools in Tulsa area. Owasso is one of them. They got Keon Hatcher from there. They got another player, but he's committed 6'6", 295. I like him. I like him a lot. I really do. He's a big tackle. He's another one that said you cannot find. Well, I think I said, but he said you can't find a place like Arkansas where they just treat you like they do. You will not be treated this way at any other school. And then Kamari Williams, a 4-star receiver from Florida. He committed sideline. Well, both those. Well, no, Cherry had been here on unofficial. I'm sorry. Kamari Williams had never been here. He's from Florida, West Palm Beach Central High School, and he had never been here. He's the one that never been here. And he just committed sideline. A 4-star. Florida State. I mean, he had he could go anywhere he wanted to down there, and he chose Arkansas. And he told me today he is very solid. He said, "I'm solid." He said, "I thought this was home." On the internet and just looking at everything and talking to the coaches, Coach Fouch, the way it seemed like home. Now I've been here and I know it is. He said, I knew it was here home as soon as I got here. So Kamari Williams is solid, and he's a 4-star, and he is a big time receiver. He's recruiting other players too. And to come here, he got a teammate, Waden Charles, who was here last week or week before. I think last week he was here. Receiver from the same school, 4-star as well. And he and Fouch are recruiting him to Arkansas. And so you never know. But yeah, those are 2 kids that's been committed. They took their official visit this weekend. And they're both very nice additions. One of them, Blake, in all honesty, should be a 4-star. He's not, but he should be. And then Williams is a 4-star with most of the services. So they're very good players, and nice pickups for Coach Fouch and Coach Matez.
Williams is another great example of, though we've talked about it constantly, but Coach Pittman always says, man, if we can get these kids on campus, we feel like we've got a shot with anybody,
Exactly. That's the key right there. Get them on campus. You don't see very many kids like Kamari Williams with 25, 30, 40 offers commit before he ever sees a campus. And I get all the internet stuff. I get you can go on the internet, you see stuff, but everybody puts their best foot forward on the internet. When you get here, though, and you experience it, and you go out and people know these kids get blown away by the fact that people know who they are when they go out the mall or they go to the restaurant or they go somewhere and people know who they are. It's like they're the Dallas Cowboys or or the LA Rams or Kansas City Chiefs. People know who these kids are, and it blows these kids away that they're high school players not even here and people know who they are. So I hear that, and Kamari mentioned, I mean, they get here and there's no pro team, and they're kind of the pro team, I guess, in a way, with the Razorbacks and stuff. They like that. But yeah, that was two good pickups for the staff, and they had 11 players in this weekend, and we'll see if they're going to get some more other than just Madison.
Well, I'll tell you what, Otis, you need to get some sleep. They're keeping you busy with all these visitors, huh?
Man, I've got Wednesday camp, and then next Sunday will be the last official visitors. I'm not going to cry, Jacob. I'm not going to lie to you. I am not going to be sad that I have 100-degree heat index chasing recruits that camps every day. It started Wednesday, not every day. It started Wednesday, but it's been Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then today was at 5:30. I'm out chasing recruits. Still missed 3 of them. So, I mean, I guess I might start getting up at 2:00 in the morning. Start beating on doors at 2:00 in the morning, man. I don't know. When you get up at 5:30, you're there at 5:30, not getting up at 5:30. I shouldn't say get up at 5:30. You're there at 5:30 and you still miss 3 recruits. You might want to start, I guess, like I said, I might start not going to bed or something on Saturday night. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. You did a great job. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Best of luck with fixing the sleep schedule. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Thanks, man. Talk to you. Thank you.